Here's your video on lines 108 through 123. Sorry, these are my notes from last year or the year before, so there's a little bit of like scanning going on, but everything should still be correct. So, we have a Notus here. He's our subject in line 108. That's the south wind. And he twists the three ships. Well, it doesn't say ships. Abruptas is like the ones having been snatched away. So trace the three ones having been snatched away. That's the ships. So he twists those into hidden rocks. The Latentia Saxa, those are hidden rocks. And the Italians, the Itali, call the rocks, which, quai, right, sunt, right, so we're assuming sunt, which are in the middle of the waves, in mediis fluctibus. They call them the aras, the altars. It's a huge, a huge back, imane dorsum, like your dorsal fin is on the back, so a huge back on top of sumo, the sea, mari. Eurus, the east wind, drives, urguet, drives three from the deep, ab alto, in brevia, into the shallows, and sirtes, the sandbars. Okay, so far we've got three ships are being twisted into the rocks, and the rocks are called the aras. They're like these big, I don't know, rocky islands in the middle of the Mediterranean. I have to figure out where those actually are. I don't actually know where those are. I'm sure they're real. And then that's the north wind doing that, and then the east wind takes another three ships and throws them into onto a sandbar. They run aground. Mirabile visu. So this is a form that's very, very Latin, and it just means like miraculous to see. It's a supine. The visu is a supine. Don't worry too much about it, but if you know... oh, sorry, it's not mirabile, it's miserabile. Just on autopilot here. It's miserable to see, miserable to behold. And it's just for dramatic effect, as the notes say. Other examples are mirabile dictu, miraculous to say, to speak, or faculus factu, easy to do. Okay, then in line 112, it dashes, in lidet, it dashes them in wadis onto the shoals. You might make that purple. It's technically an ablative, but I kind of turned it into a, what do you call it? Prepositional phrase to make it easier to understand. But it is technically an ablative. And circles them, encircles them in a heap of sand. The agara is a heap and harena is of sand. Like an arena has a sand floor, harena is sand. What do we got? Okay, then one which was carrying the Lycians and faithful Orontes. Let's see, a huge sea. Okay, so a huge wave, it literally says a huge sea, but it's like, it's not the sea, it's probably like a wave, right? Like a giant wave, like a rogue wave. A vertice, from high up, ante oculos ipsia, so before the eyes of those themselves, of the man himself, meaning Aeneas, carries okay, so it's the, let me do this one more time for you. So, one, which was carrying the Lycians and faithful Orontes, a huge wave strikes, meaning that one, right? From high up, before the eyes of that man, in pupem, which is like onto the stern of the ship. Excutitor. So the helmsman, the magister, right, the captain of the ship, the helmsman, is cast off, excutitor. Pronusqua, that means like head first, headlong. And he is volvitur in caput. He's rolled onto his head. But a agens fluctus, a driving wave, twists, torquet again from up here, torquet, twists that ship, the Ilam, 3 times around Ibidem in the same place. And a swift whirlpool devours it, we assume, with the sea. Right? So that was the helmsman is thrown, is thrown headlong and is turned onto his head, but a driving wave twists that ship 3 times around in the same place, and a swift whirlpool devours it with the sea. So it's sort of like in Little Mermaid when when Ursula is creating the vortex and you can see the bottom of the sea, sort of that. She's like Ursula is creating this storm. You can see the bottom of the sea, devouring ships. Like Prince Eric's ship is being devoured by the whirlpool. Picture that. And then they appear, scattered and then swimming in a vast flood. The Rari should be yellow too. So they appear scattered and swimming in a vast flood. The weapons of man. Isn't this interesting here? Arma virum tabulaeque. This is hearkening back to the first line of the Aeneid. Arma virumque cano. So it's arms, but here it's a genitive of the men. The weapons of the men, and the planks and the Trojan treasure, through the waves. So there's just like all this detritus in the water, debris. There's men swimming. There's just like junk in the water. Bits of ship and treasure and whatnot are just like floating around or sinking. The water is just like filled with it. Already, the strong ship of Ilioneus, already of brave Achates, the winter storm conquered. So then I put this in parentheses here because it's sort of like, and like the ship by which Abbas was carried, and by which aged Aletes. So it's all those ships, the ship of Ilioneus, the ship of Achates, the ship of Abbas, the ship of Aletes. The winter storm conquers them with because of the loose seams of their sides. All those ships, those 4 listed, except the hostile, the inimicum, the hostile imbrem, seawater, and they split open remis at the seams. All right, so this is already a bit longer of a video than I wanted it to be, but basically this is the destruction of the ships. Things are being twisted and turned and thrown and carried and driven, and there's men swimming in the water, and I mean it's just bad news. I mean, men are dying, screaming, they're drowning. It's just chaos and destruction. So that is where we leave it.